In the blink of an eye, an entire city was brought to its knees. This is the chilling tale of the Halifax Explosion. As the leaves turned vivid shades of red and gold in the autumn of 1917, the city of Halifax buzzed with the hustle and bustle of a thriving port. Nestled on the eastern coast of Canada, this bustling hub was alive with the sounds of World War I, a global conflict that had the world in its grip. The city's harbor was a ballet of vessels, each with their own tale, each with their own destiny. Among them were two ships, the SS Mont-Blanc and the SS Imo, as different as night and day. The SS Mont-Blanc, a French cargo ship, was a ticking time bomb, her belly filled to the brim with high explosives. She was a silent threat, a deadly secret hidden beneath a mask of innocence. Her cargo was a dangerous mix of chemicals, destined for the battlefields of Europe, waiting to unleash their destructive power. On the other hand, the SS Imo, a Norwegian vessel, was a picture of normalcy. She was a chartered relief ship tasked with delivering supplies to a world at war. Little did she know, she was on a collision course with fate, a dance with disaster that would change the course of history. The city of Halifax was unaware of the impending disaster, its citizens going about their daily lives, oblivious to the catastrophe that was about to unfold. Children played in the streets, men and women went about their work, and the city thrived, unaware of the silent threat lurking in their harbor. As the two ships navigated the busy waters of the harbor, their paths were destined to cross. A fatal miscalculation, a momentary lapse in judgment, and the stage was set for a disaster of unimaginable proportions. The date was December 6, 1917, a day that would forever be etched in the annals of history. Little did the people of Halifax know their lives were about to change forever. On the fateful morning of December 6, 1917, an unfortunate series of events set the stage for disaster. As the sun rose over Halifax Harbour, two vessels found themselves on a collision course that would forever alter the course of the city's history. The Norwegian vessel, the SS Imo, was departing the harbor, while the French cargo ship, the SS Mont-Blanc, laden with a volatile cargo of high explosives, was steaming in. The two ships, each with its own agenda and under the pressure of wartime urgency, failed to communicate effectively. A series of miscommunications and mistakes, a dance of misdirection and misunderstanding, led these two sea giants on a deadly path towards each other. As the SS Imo attempted a late and desperate maneuver to avert the collision, it was already too late. The two ships met with a grinding crash. The SS Mont-Blanc's hull was breached, and sparks ignited the highly explosive cargo. A fire broke out on the decks of the Mont-Blanc, the flames licking the morning sky, creating a spectacle that drew the curious eyes of the city's residents. The crew of the Mont-Blanc, aware of the deadly nature of their cargo, abandoned ship in a desperate attempt to escape the inevitable. They rowed towards the shore, shouting warnings to those on the docks, but their frantic cries were lost in the wind and the noise of the growing fire. Meanwhile, the people of Halifax, drawn by the spectacle of the fire, watched from their homes, their places of work, and the streets. Children pointed at the rising smoke, their faces lit by the eerie glow. Men and women watched in awe, oblivious to the impending doom. The fire on the SS Mont-Blanc grew, the flames reaching higher, the heat intensifying, but the full scale of the danger was still not understood. Unaware of the imminent danger, the people of Halifax could only watch as the fire on the SS Mont-Blanc grew. Their fascination with the spectacle would soon turn to horror as the city found itself on the precipice of the deadliest non-nuclear explosion in history. At 9:04 a.m., the unthinkable happened. The SS Mont-Blanc exploded. In that moment, the world around Halifax Harbour was engulfed in a blinding white flash as the ship, laden with high explosives, detonated with a force that shattered the calm morning. It was a monstrous spectacle of destruction, an eruption of raw, lethal power that would forever scar the history of the city. The explosion was colossal, unlike anything the world had ever witnessed. A searing blast wave radiated outwards from the epicenter, reaching speeds of over 1,000 miles per hour. Buildings in the immediate vicinity were instantaneously flattened, reduced to splintered remnants. Farther out, structures were violently torn apart, their inhabitants thrown about like rag dolls. Following the initial blast, a monstrous shockwave ripped through the city. It shattered windows, crumbled brickwork, and sent debris flying in every direction. The shockwave was so powerful that it was felt as far away as Cape Breton, over 200 miles distant. But the terror of the explosion wasn't limited to the land. The detonation triggered a devastating tsunami in the harbor. A giant wave, cresting at over 60 feet, surged forth, swallowing ships and piers and inundating the shoreline. People who had survived the initial explosion were caught in the watery onslaught, their cries for help drowned by the relentless roar of the wave. The immediate devastation was horrifying. Around 2,000 lives were snuffed out in an instant, and another 9,000 were left injured. The harbor, once bustling with life, was now a scene of desolation and destruction. The city of Halifax, its buildings, its people, its very lifeblood, was decimated. The explosion of the SS Mont-Blanc was a tragedy of epic proportions, a cataclysmic event that brought untold suffering and loss. It was a moment that marked the city, a moment that would never be forgotten. In an instant, Halifax was reduced to rubble. In the wake of the explosion, Halifax was a city in ruins. The once bustling harbor city now resembled an apocalyptic landscape. Buildings were flattened, trees stripped bare, and the streets were littered with debris and the wreckage of what used to be people's lives. The shockwaves from the explosion had been so powerful, they had shattered windows miles away, leaving nothing untouched. The immediate aftermath was a scene of chaos and confusion. The explosion had obliterated most of the city's infrastructure, leaving survivors without access to basic necessities like food, water, and medical aid. But amidst the rubble and ruin, the spirit of humanity began to shine through. Rescue efforts began almost immediately, with surviving Halifax residents digging through the wreckage to find their neighbors, their friends, and their family members. It became a race against time, a desperate struggle to find survivors before the harsh Canadian winter could claim more lives. Makeshift hospitals were set up in any buildings that had survived the explosion, and doctors, nurses, and volunteers worked tirelessly to tend to the injured and the traumatized. But Halifax was not alone in its struggle. News of the disaster spread quickly, and aid began to arrive from other cities, other provinces, and even other countries. Trains filled with supplies and medical personnel were dispatched from as far away as Boston and New York, braving treacherous winter conditions to bring much-needed aid to the devastated city. Even the Canadian government, despite being engaged in the war effort, diverted resources to aid Halifax in its time of need. Ships were sent from nearby naval bases, bringing fresh water, food, and medical supplies. Soldiers, sailors, and airmen were dispatched to assist in the rescue efforts, working side by side with the citizens of Halifax to clear debris and search for survivors. There were also stories of incredible individual heroism. Stories of people who, despite losing everything, devoted themselves to helping others. People like Vincent Coleman, a railway dispatcher who, despite knowing he was unlikely to survive the explosion, stayed at his post to send a warning message to an incoming passenger train, potentially saving hundreds of lives. And through it all, the people of Halifax showed an incredible resilience. Despite the devastation, the loss, and the hardship, they refused to be broken. They banded together, helped each other, and began the long and difficult process of rebuilding their city and their lives. The aftermath of the Halifax explosion was a testament to the strength of the human spirit. It was a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, people can come together, help each other, and find a way to move forward. In the face of unimaginable tragedy, the people of Halifax showed incredible resilience. As the city began to pick up the pieces, the question on everyone's mind was, how did this happen? The dust had barely settled when the investigation into the Halifax explosion was launched. The magnitude of the disaster demanded answers, and the world watched as one of the most significant inquiries of the early 20th century unfolded. The investigation was a painstaking process, unraveling the events of that fateful day. Investigators pored over ship logs, interviewed survivors, and examined the wreckage in their quest for truth. The spotlight fell on the two ships involved, the SS Mont-Blanc, laden with explosives, and the SS Imo, a relief vessel. The question was simple yet complex. Who was at fault? Legal battles ensued. with both sides pointing fingers. The Mont-Blanc's crew were accused of negligence for carrying such a volatile cargo into a bustling harbor. Meanwhile, the Imo was criticized for its alleged aggressive navigation. After almost 2 years of deliberation, the Supreme Court of Canada delivered its verdict. It was determined that both vessels were equally at fault. The ruling was a landmark decision, highlighting the shared responsibility in avoiding collisions at sea. But this catastrophe did more than just pass judgment. It changed the course of maritime law forever. Shipping regulations around the world were tightened. Procedures were put in place to ensure that a disaster of such magnitude would never happen again. Ships carrying dangerous cargo were subjected to stricter controls. Navigation rules were clarified and strengthened. The Halifax explosion was a horrific wake-up call, prompting a worldwide reevaluation of harbor safety. The Halifax explosion served as a stark reminder of the dangers of wartime shipping. It highlighted the perils of complacency and the dire consequences when safety is compromised. Even as Halifax rose from the ashes, the echoes of the explosion reverberated around the world, leaving an indelible mark on maritime history. More than a century later, the Halifax explosion remains a defining moment in Canadian history. The echoes of the devastating blast still reverberate through the city's memory, shaping its identity and the lives of its people. In the aftermath of the explosion, Halifax was forever changed. A city that was once bustling with life was brought to its knees, its landscape forever scarred by the horrors of that fateful day in December 1917. But from the ashes, Halifax rose again, rebuilding itself into the vibrant city we know today. The long-term effects of the explosion were profound. The city's infrastructure had to be completely rebuilt, a process that took many years and countless resources. The psychological toll on the survivors and their descendants was immense, the trauma of the event seeping into the fabric of their lives. It was a time of great hardship, but also of resilience and determination. Today, the city commemorates the event with a solemn annual ceremony on December 6th, the day of the explosion. A moment of silence is observed at 9:04 a.m., the exact time when the blast occurred. The Halifax Explosion Memorial Bell Tower tolls in remembrance of the lives lost and the city that was forever changed. The event also finds its way into the city's art and culture. Stories of the explosion are told and retold, embedded in the city's collective memory. Through books, films, and songs, the legacy of the explosion lives on, a testament to the city's resilience and its ability to rise from the ashes. The Halifax explosion, a tragedy that shook a city to its core, serves as a lasting reminder of the human cost of war. It stands as a testament to the city's resilience, a symbol of its ability to rebuild and persevere. It's a story of destruction, yes, but also of rebirth and resilience. It's a story that continues to resonate, a story that Halifax will never forget. The Halifax explosion was a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. In a span of just a few moments, the lives of thousands were changed forever. The city of Halifax, once vibrant and bustling, was reduced to a wasteland. Approximately 2,000 souls were lost, and 9,000 more were injured, many permanently. Yet, amid the devastation, a city rose from the ashes, a testament to the resilience of its people. This devastating event did not just fade into the pages of history. Instead, it sparked significant changes in maritime safety regulations. Prior to the explosion, there were no universal protocols for ship navigation and cargo handling. The Halifax explosion, however, served as a grim reminder of the catastrophic consequences of overlooking such measures. In the aftermath, the international community rallied together to implement stringent safety regulations. Ships were now required to maintain safe distances while passing each other, and the handling of dangerous cargo was strictly regulated. These safety measures, born out of the tragedy, have undoubtedly saved countless lives over the years. Today, the Halifax explosion is remembered not just for the destruction it caused, but also for the lessons it taught us. Every year, on the 6th of December, the city of Halifax pays tribute to the lives lost and the heroism displayed in the face of adversity. A moment of silence is observed at 9:05, the exact time of the explosion, followed by a reading of the names of those who perished. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of the Halifax explosion is the spirit of resilience and unity it fostered. The city, quite literally, rose from the debris, rebuilt and stronger than ever. The people of Halifax, united in grief and determination, showed the world the power of community and the strength of the human spirit. In the face of devastation, the resilience of the Halifax community serves as a testament to the indomitable human spirit. The Halifax explosion was a catastrophe, yes, but it was also a testament to the power of unity, resilience, and the unyielding human spirit.